This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I am your host, Jason McIntyre. It's Wednesday. Finally, we got a good NBA playoff game last night. Whitlock is doing the hashtag Bow Wow Challenge. I'm sure you're dying for updates on that. Let's get to it. Cowherd says you can't solely blame James Harden for the Rockets' loss last night because this is who the Rockets are. Whitlock calls out Cowherd for writing the Spurs off last week and breaks down why he was so impressed with the Spurs. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joins the discussion for who would you rather have, Isaiah Thomas or John Wall? The man with the best hat in the building, no offense Whitlock, 2008 NBA champ Big Baby Davis, sporting an interesting jacket as well if you were watching the show on FS1. He gives us a behind-the-scenes look at the 2008 Celtics and their beef with Jesus Shuttleworth, a.k.a. Ray Allen. Quick shout-out to the 19th anniversary of He Got Game. What a movie. Love that. Plus, should the Texans allow Deshaun Watson a chance to compete for the starting QB job? Yes, that's really a question. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Colin and Jason, take it away.
All right, welcome to the show. We'll tell you why James Harden was to blame for that loss last night.
And why last night proved the Warriors are going to cruise to the finals. Speak For Yourself starts right now.
Great game last night. As I told Broussard yesterday, the playoffs aren't boring. I tried to tell him that yesterday. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and Phoenix Sun forward Jared Dudley. Before we get going, a big congratulations to the entire Fox Sports family for winning 18 sports Emmys last night. An incredible accomplishment. Congrats to everyone involved. All right, let's move to San Antonio, where we finally saw a decent playoff game last night as the Spurs outlasted Houston to win Game 5 in overtime with Kawhi Leonard hurting his ankle down the stretch. The Spurs were able to rely on savvy veterans like Manu Ginobili to help take control of this series. Here's Ginobili after the game.
I felt that I contributed to the team, to the win, and that, of course, makes you feel great.
The teammates did a good job of closing out that game with me not being able to go that last stretch.
Pop said you wanted to play, but it was obvious that you needed to come out. How severe is the injury, do you think? Do you anticipate being able to play games?
Yeah, I'm going to be able to play.
Pop, is it difficult to balance rotations against their small ball lineups?
Is it hard? Does that animal do what he does in the woods?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
All right, Colin, you wrote these guys off last week. Were you impressed by the Spurs last night?
I really wasn't. The Spurs have become that television show that's been on the air for like 17 years, and you're not sure if anybody's really any good or you're just used to them. Like the dad's still taking a check. Like people have moved off the show. It's got the same director. You're like, yeah, I'm just kind of used to it. Listen, they were awful in overtime. They shot 41%. Houston Popovich is why they're winning this series. Here's the Spurs in overtime. This wasn't an elevation of greatness. This was surviving and being the better of two worn-out teams down the stretch. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just see an old team or a young team both going to get swept by Golden State.
I saw a team that played without Tony Parker. Kawhi Leonard got hurt. LaMarcus Aldridge couldn't hit the side of a barn. There's someone else I'm forgetting that wasn't any good. And they found a way to win against James Harden and the Houston Rockets.
James, who was, if Houston played more than 7 people, maybe they wouldn't have been exhausted.
I'm with Whitlock on this one. I was impressed. I mean, this was typical Spurs. Next man up. Jonathan Simmons comes out of nowhere, young, athletic guy. I think he's just going to keep getting better and better. He was a big reason Harden struggled in overtime with the 4 turnovers. And then Danny Green stepping up, firing in the overtime period. And, of course, 39-year-old Manu Ginobili, who hadn't delivered in 22 playoff games or something like that, coming out of nowhere, not only offensively but defensively with the block on Harden. I was big-time impressed.
Okay, that team you think can compete with Golden State?
I think the Spurs will get a game or 2 from the Warriors.
Don't even answer that question. That ain't the question. Were you impressed?
Yeah, you have to be impressed by that, Colin. The reason why you have to be impressed, for one, Kawhi Leonard is the only guy they have that can create his own shot. They lose him. guys like Patty Mills, Danny Green's been struggling, stepped up. Manu, I mean, I haven't seen Manu dunk since that ball spot was away. I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, Manu was big time. I mean, Pop, I mean, he does the right buttons. Gasol's struggling defensively. Aldridge can't buy a shot, but yet they're beating the Houston Rockets.
Like, I'm not impressed with all wins, and I'm not discouraged by all losses. I actually came out of that game last night, and I'm like, Houston loses Nene. They go on the road, one of the 5 toughest places to play, and they really came from a block shot by Manu Ginobili on Harden of winning the game. Like, I thought they came into the game man down.
If this were the New England Patriots had just overcome all these injuries and Patty Mills doesn't even execute the last shot in regulation, Paul Gasol does, and they still found a way to win, you'd be celebrating Bill Belichick and the culture that they have there. They got the culture there with Pop.
I'm not denying the culture, but you say I can't talk about what's next. When I watch San Antonio, again, I see an old team. We're all, like, shocked that Manu dunked it. Like, we're all sitting here like, did you see Manu? Like, I'm not blown up.
Old, but Patty Mills isn't that old. Like I said, Jonathan Simmons, DeJounte Murray, he didn't do much last night, but he's starting to get some experience. I mean, do you think Houston's going to do something with Golden State?
No, I'm not impressed with the entire Western Conference. Like, I've said this all year.
Oh, yeah, you think the East is better. I forgot.
No. I think if you took Houston and put it in the East, it's the same thing. We have built this narrative, the East is awful, the West is great.
It's true, though. It's a true narrative.
There's more great players in the West. Find me all the great Western teams. By the way, Warriors are 8-0, winning by 15 without their coach. They've missed KD for a game, and twice they've shot poorly. And they're blowing everybody out. All right, to James Harden and the Rockets, who took the lead in overtime but just couldn't hold on. Now, Harden carried Houston with another triple-double. Also had 9 turnovers. Struggled really down the stretch, putting up twice as many turnovers as points in the last 5 minutes of regulation and overtime. Whitlock, do you blame Harden for the loss?
Yeah, I blame Harden. I blame D'Antoni. I blame the entire team. It was there for the taking. Harden's turnovers in overtime were ridiculous. He got taken apart by Simmons. The fact that I hate that these teams just go away from any type of real offense at the end of games. They just set Harden out top, wait for somebody to come pick and roll with him, or just him go one-on-one, and it blew up in their face. They didn't play team ball down at the end, and it blew up in their face.
We tend to, with sports, the hero gets the praise, and the hero is blamed. Like, Mike D'Antoni is my Mike Tomlin. Like, I like him as a coach in the regular season, but you get D'Antoni in the postseason against Popovich, he's 0 for his last 4. And when I watch him, I'm like, I like what D'Antoni's created. I like what he did in Phoenix, and I like what he did in Houston. But playoffs is about half-court, timeouts, out of a timeout, possession basketball, and he played 7 guys. Okay, James Harden at the end of that game, he had a good guy guarding him in that game. James Harden was done. James Harden had, almost like John Wall, when you go into the fourth having played 33, 34 minutes, you can't ask these little guys to play at that level forever.
He's not that little, though. He's 6'6", got a good body. I'm with you on D'Antoni. I don't think he pays attention to detail, and I think in tight series and tight games like this, especially against San Antonio, it always comes back to bite you. I feel like we saw this all the time when Phoenix was playing San Antonio.
Yes.
But this is becoming a pattern, and I'm a James Harden fan, but he is not delivering in the clutch. 4 playoff games now with 9 or more turnovers. That's the most in the last 30 years. Remember, go back 2 years, 2015, he had 13 turnovers. An NBA playoff record against Golden State was 2 for 11. When they rallied to beat the Clippers in Game 6 in the semifinals in 2015, they rallied from a 17-point deficit with Harden on the bench. And then go back to his first time in the finals in 2012 against Miami. He only averaged 12 points, shot 37%. So he has a pattern here now of showing up small, and again, he did it last night.
Is Harden becoming Westbrook?
No. I'm pro player here with James. I mean, I'm definitely pro player here, but the thing about James is he gets fatigued on that because the ball's in his hand 90%. He's Steve Nash in this system for D'Antoni. So by the end of the game, he does get worn down a little bit. But credit Popovich for this, where he put Patty Mills on him, Kawhi, Simmons. I mean, he gave him different looks at different times, and that's where the coaching comes in at the end of the game. But to be honest with you, if you look at the three-point percentage, they shot 20%. A lot of them were uncontested. So if these guys make a couple more shots, it's not all on James. But you know what? He does have to be better.
The Super Bowl, Brady gets the MVP. But the untold story of the game was New England's defense, in the second half alone, forced Atlanta into 4 3-and-outs. So really the defense won the game because Brady was taking on defensive ends that couldn't run. In this game, we look at Harden. But if you start adding up the rebounds and the assists and the total points, they're in this game late because of Harden.
Sure. Listen, I'm a little bit shocked, though. This morning, when I turned on your radio show, I thought for sure you would go back to the Cisco LeBron MVP song, because that is what I was thinking last night. I was like, Colin's kind of right. James Harden kind of exposed himself. And, again, I've been a guy that, you know, I'm fine with Westbrook getting the MVP. But as the season plays out, the more and more it comes back to what, man, LeBron's just so much better than all these guys.
By the way, Kawhi didn't play late. Westbrook was bad late. Harden has struggled late. We're all now seeing this play out, right?
We all knew LeBron was the best player, but it's a regular season award.
I think
Russell
he might be the MVP, though.
No, come on.
I mean,
he's the best player. There's no question. Nobody's doubting that. But come on, triple-double.
If you said that's the best company in that city, wouldn't it be the most valuable company in that city?
Not necessarily. Not every year, every month.
All right, welcome back. Chris Broussard and Jared Dudley are back with us. Let's move to Boston, where John Wall and the Wizards take on Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics in Game 5 tonight. Isaiah started this series on fire, putting up 53 points in Game 2, but has cooled off during the last 2 games. Wall, meanwhile, has been a consistent scorer and distributor, but hasn't been able to hold a couple of big leads on the road.
Sure hasn't.
Colin, who do you trust more to lead their team to a series win, Isaiah or Wall?
Isaiah, because I get Brad Stevens with him. I mean, one of the reasons I like Brady is one of the components is because I get Belichick with Brady with 2 minutes to go. So, I mean, it's like I've never trusted the Cubs. Oh, I trust the Cubs now because I get Joe Madden and I get Theo Epstein. So if you're giving me 2 great players, and I think one, like Popovich, Brad Stevens, I think situationally is an elite coach. He's going to call a better play. They're going to be more prepared. He's going to have better attention.
You've been watching the series.
First of all, Isaiah's a better scorer than John. John's a bigger, better athlete.
Have you been watching this?
I have.
That's a different question. Look, Washington dominated the first 2 games and blew it. Washington goes on home and crushes them twice. Who's the better team? Washington's the better team. John Wall's the better player. He's the second best player in the East.
Oh.
He's coming to his prime as a distributor and a playmaker, a smart. He is the true leader of that team. I love the emotion he plays with. Obviously, the speed and the athleticism. Look, I like Isaiah Thomas, but he ain't 6'4". John Wall has been the best player in his class since he was probably in 6th, 7th grade. Best player in his class right now.
Look, I don't know if I'm going to answer this the right way because I think Washington's going to win the series.
Yes.
I think John Wall's the better player. But as far as if one player was going to lead their team and put it on their back, I think it would be Isaiah Thomas.
Yes.
Because he's more of a scorer's mentality. Wall is a true point guard, even though he scores a lot. And so I think he's going to rely a little more on other players, whereas Isaiah will just go and get it himself. We saw that in the 53-point game.
What have we seen since?
It's both teams are terrible on the road. In this,
John Wall showed up in every game.
They've played 8 games.
John Wall has showed up in every game.
They played 8 games all season. The home team has won every game. Now, I think Washington's going to break that. I guess
Washington's got more quality players. Washington's got better players.
And that's the thing. I think Wall will have more help.
Well, the reason why I'm picking John Wall, not just because I played with him, plug, but no, I think that when Isaiah's not scoring, what does he help you out with? Like, how does he help his team? John, even if he's not scoring, he's going to get you 10 assists for sure. Defensively, he's pretty solid defensively, blocking shots, and the energy of his transition, when he goes down there, it opens up the three-point shooter. So for me, I do like Brad Stevenson better, but I don't think Scott Brooks gets enough credit. They were terrible early in the year. I actually heard from a couple of their teammates, he got on John early in the season, called him out from the team. That made John become a lot better player, and I'm with Whitlock. He is the second best player in the Eastern Conference because of what he does to other people. Your debate about Westbrook, do people want to play? I'll take less money and play with John Wall.
Well, you feel like, well, I don't have
nothing to say.
No, I just, listen, you ask me a question. First of all, when you ask me a question, I give you an answer. It doesn't mean it's a big gap in the answer. Like, if you say Isaiah and Wall, it can be, the difference can be this.
I agree with that.
You think I'm, like, way up here.
No.
John Wall's the...
picking Boston to win the series?
No.
He's not even picking Boston.
No.
That's what I was saying.
Washington's got more good players. That's why Vegas had them as a favorite. They are a better team. But
John Wall in all 4 games has shown up. One guy hasn't.
Well, Wall
struggled late in one of the games.
Yeah, like Harden, the game Isaiah had 53, but struggling late in a tight game is huge.
Chris, all right.
You can't write that off.
If you started the series out and I say, oh, hey, one guy's going to show up all 4 games, the other guy, 2 games is going to be great, and the other 2 he's going to back off. What would you rather have?
Look, Wall's better. Like Jared said, I mean, he's going to get you 10, 11 assists. He's going to give you 27 points, too, in this series. But the guy with the more of a takeover mentality,
is Isaiah.
In my opinion, is Isaiah.
As a scorer, there are other ways to take over the game. Pushing the pace, controlling the pace of the game.
But fourth quarter, who's the better player in the fourth quarter? It's been Isaiah. All season long.
That matters.
If Bradley Beal hadn't faded away for no reason on that last second shot from the free throw line and shot an air ball, he had time to get a good shot. This series would be 3-1, and we'd all be sitting there going, damn, man, John Wall, wow. They may give Cleveland look. This series may go 5 or 6. 5 or 6. They might give them a little trouble. And look at what John Wall. If they get another piece in Washington, Washington's the real deal next year.
That piece, Kevin Durant?
Yeah,
no.
A lot of woulda, coulda.
Marcus Morris. If they add Marcus Morris to Marquis.
They gonna challenge Cleveland?
Come on.
You've been looking for somebody to challenge. First it was Miami. Then it was Indiana. Now it's Washington.
You know, you sound like a disgruntled Pacers fan. That's what you sound like. Welcome back. There's Willie. Oh, wait. Jared Dudley's back. NBA champ Glenn Big Baby Davis. To the NBA champion 2008 Celtics, who had a reunion this week on Kevin Garnett's fun Area 21 segment on TNT. Our buddy here, Glenn Davis, was there, but one notable Celtic wasn't Ray Allen, who has been estranged from the team since he left Boston for rival Miami. Today, the Boston Herald says the former Celtic went from champs to chumps for not inviting Allen. All right, Whitlock, do they look petty, all these guys, not inviting Ray to the reunion?
Not remotely. Ray bounced on them, didn't even write a Dear John letter goodbye. He just left to go play with their bitter rivals, the Heat. I got no problem with it. I think they're being real and authentic. That's how they feel. The guy could have at least hollered at him before he left and explained why, and there wouldn't be this problem. But the guy just leaves and goes to the Heat. I don't have a problem with him being real.
Is it that he left or who he left for?
Who he left for, I think, plays a big role in it.
Yeah, if he left for Milwaukee, nobody'd care. He left for LeBron. Let's be honest.
He cheated. Yeah.
Life's all about leaving at the right time, right? A relationship, a company, a team. Ray Allen may have been smarter than everybody, snuck out the door a year earlier than Pierce, KG, our guy Rondo. He literally, the Celtics had lost it. He felt it. He sensed it. And he said, I'm getting out of here and winning one more title. You should call him and thank him.
Thank him? No, I don't think you get it.
What don't I get?
The brotherhood.
You guys all left Boston. All of you did.
Because we had no choice.
What do you mean?
Ray had a choice. Ray said, you know what? I'm not Jesus over here anymore, Shuttlesworth, and I want to go somewhere where they're going to make me feel wanted.
And that's bad.
Where he went.
And that's bad.
At the time, you just got to communicate. That's just like, you're dating a girl, and she just leaves. Just leaves and says, Colin, I don't have to tell you anything.
You want communication.
I just want a little bit of something so I can just close my book with you. And then when I see you in public, I'm not really mad at you anymore.
So that's the issue.
That's the issue.
I think it feels like, to me, who he left for. He left for LeBron, who you guys hated.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's a big part of it.
And now everybody loves LeBron. You see what's going on here?
DeMar DeRozan, Kyrie, your best friend.
I would acknowledge it's who, not that. It's who she left for. Listen, there's two things about the NBA you can't be a moralist on. Mobility and monogamy, okay? Like in the NBA, guys move. That's what they do. This is what the league is. You guys are all bouncing around to teams. I'm for mobility.
Have you won a championship?
We were runner-up in junior year of high school.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it petty. That I see, I just seem like those guys are hurt. I mean, I've never won a championship, and I saw him on the parade with his shirt off, acting up. But that bond that they had, and for him to leave, to take less money, to go to the rival, my only issue would be for him not to call anybody. There must have been issues going on beforehand to not go. So he must have had beef with some other people. And for him to leave, it seemed like he wanted to go. Like maybe his foot was already at the door during their last playoff run.
That man was gone after the game when they got beat. The man jumped in the car with LeBron after the game, had dinner with the man.
Did he?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I know.
So that just tells you.
For a fact. The man was gone after the game.
That's the issue right there. Again, they felt like he was. I guarantee you the whole deal is they never felt like he was really in it with him.
Oh, give me a break. By the way, he did win another title.
Well, that's fine for him. And again, I don't. What they're saying is they wouldn't have had a problem with it had he followed proper protocol. There's no reason to be commiserating with LeBron.
By the way, let me defend players on this. Proper protocol. So LeBron leaves Cleveland for Miami, holds a press conference, bad guy. Carmelo Anthony
it wasn't
says,
just a press conference, Colin.
Okay, then Carmelo Anthony in Denver says, okay, I'm gonna give everybody a year advance. No, you're a bad guy. Dwight Howard's like, well, the year advance didn't work and the press conference didn't work, so I'm undecided and I'm gonna talk about it through the process. You're a bad guy. Let's be honest. Players get mad when good players leave. LeBron got ripped, Melo got ripped, Dwight Howard got ripped, Shaq got ripped, Ray got ripped. It's a badge of honor to get ripped for leaving because they only hate the guy who they miss because he's a good player.
But if you have a guy like LeBron that can pick anywhere, me and Jared can't pick anywhere we can go. And we can affect the team, the community, just everything. When you have that power, you do that for your teammates to let them know, hey, I'm not going to be here anymore. You know what I mean? A lot of guys have power in this league. They're using it the wrong way, and that's what you're saying. Who's holding like a press conference to go to another team? They're using their power in the wrong way when they can use it in the right way by just communicating.
I'm for mobility.
Look, man, I'm for putting my name on any decision that I make. That's been my reputation in this business and in life throughout my life. Anything I do, I sign my name to it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ducking out of any back door. If I had formed a bond with this group of guys and we had won a championship together, I'm going to put hey, guys, I'm bouncing. And I'm going over here to play with Miami. You got a problem with it?
So if you sent a text, everybody'd be cool.
Yeah.
A text?
Yeah.
That's
something.
A text?
Not just leaving.
Something. All right, welcome back. Greg Jennings and Jason McIntyre are back with us. Let's return to the NFL, where the Houston Texans made a big splash drafting Deshaun Watson last month, hoping to land the franchise QB they've been missing since Bill O'Brien got there. But reportedly, O'Brien won't even allow Watson to compete for the starting job this year, putting his faith in Tom Savage, who started all of 2 games in his entire career. Colin, should the Texans let Watson compete for the starting job?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I just learned this, that Tom Watson has 0 career touchdown passes. Tom Savage, excuse me.
Tom Watson has 8 career majors.
You know what? Tom Watson, the golfer, and Tom Savage had the same number of touchdown passes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pete Carroll years ago signed Matt Flynn. $10 million. Yeah. Then he got into camp and went, oh, Russell Wilson's way better. I think that's what you have to do at quarterback. When you go in with tunnel vision, what if I'm married to a redhead? What if I just decided that 20 years ago, just redheads? A brunette could walk by, the nicest person in the world. I'm on redhead. Don't get tunnel vision. If Deshaun Watson comes
really
in.
How you think about women? Just the color of their hair?
No, I'm just saying. You can't live in this. You got to live in, let me see everything. What if Deshaun comes in and Deshaun's a better leader? What if the Cowboys did? I mean, you got to give everybody a shot.
I don't buy what he's saying. I think he's trying to take some pressure off Deshaun Watson because it would be silly. Look, they're in the same state. They just saw what Dak Prescott, a rookie quarterback, did for the Dallas Cowboys. The ownership, the general manager will have a say in this as well. And, you know, they both have 0 career NFL touchdowns, so they should both be starting the same starting line.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes.
I just think at the moment he's trying to take some pressure off of Deshaun Watson.
Now, I think that's a pretty good point.
That's a great point.
That's what it could be.
Listen, if the GM and the owner are saying, hey, make it a competition, the GM put people in place, the receivers, the running backs. They built a great defense. It's the coach who supposedly knows quarterbacks. Why doesn't he want to open it up and consider Deshaun Watson? You got to wonder. Something seems
I think Whitlock just made a really good point.
No, take pressure off and humble the kid a little bit. Deshaun Watson's been running his mouth a little bit.
I've never thought about it like that, but that's a very valid point, especially across state. You see the success that Dak had last year. That would put pressure on
Deshaun Watson.
Absolutely, to perform. Look what this guy was able to do. That would put a lot of pressure on a young quarterback coming in, which we all know they typically don't have great success in year 1, year 2, year 3. So I think they're playing it smart, but he's definitely going to compete. You made a good point as well with the Flynn analogy. When Flynn went over to Seattle,
they paid $10
million.
million.
They paid a lot of money based on a couple games, specifically the last game of the season against Detroit, where he really had a phenomenal game. I'm a Matt Flynn fan, but Russell Wilson came in.
Blew everybody away.
They couldn't deny him that opportunity to say, look, this is going to be his team.
And by the way, Russell Wilson came in, and it wasn't like he blew everybody away in preseason. It was like literally Pete Carroll watched it and said, I think he's a better leader of men.
Exactly.
So it wasn't like Russell came in and threw for 400. Like Dak came out in the preseason, you're like, oh, my God. This is like he's putting up big numbers. At some point, quarterback's not about arm and feet. Dak Prescott has an average arm. It's about leadership. You close your eyes to leadership, it's going to go right past you to another team.
Well, I think, again, and I'm Bill O'Brien, if you remember, Dak Prescott came in with no expectations on him. And obviously, Deshaun Watson's coming in with monster expectations. He's trying to lower some of that and also motivate the kid because Dak came in, one, trying to earn a spot in the NFL, one. And again, everybody that comes into that NFL locker room puts that, they want to start. They don't care if it's Tony Romo in front of them or Tom Brady in front of them. And so Dak had a target to shoot at, and he shot at it and hit. He wants Deshaun Watson coming in with that same mindset. Deshaun Watson's been a guy that likes to talk, like, you know, everybody's going to regret not drafting me. Brings him some humility, lower the expectations.
Tom Savage has 0 career touchdown passes.
You know how many touchdown passes I have in my career?
How many?
1. 0.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could have said 1.
I was surprised. Well, everybody's so high on Tom Savage, and I just saw.
Who's high on him? Bill O'Brien? I mean, that's about it.
I mean, they played musical chairs, didn't they?
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. For this podcast and all other podcasts, make sure you check us out. Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube. All the cool kids are doing it. Leave us a review, a comment, suggestion. We love the reaction and feedback. Also, remember, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And, folks, I need to sign off with this. I, did a video here at FS1 about the top 5 point guards in NBA history. And I said Steph Curry was second. The guy who produces this podcast is laughing at me right now. Scotty, stop laughing. Steph Curry is only behind Magic Johnson all time in NBA point guards. I'm telling you, folks, rewriting the three-point record book. Okay, scoring way up over Stockton Isaiah. He's got 2 MVP awards, been to the finals twice. Hey, he could end up with as many finals trips as Magic Johnson. Yes, Magic Johnson, if they continue the hot streak I think they're capable of. I know 9 trips to the finals is a long shot for Curry, but are you really putting it out of the realm? He's only 29, folks. He's a great shooter. They're going to be around for a while. See you tomorrow.